welcome to Hearts and Stripes, your one-stop shop for all things military marriage. I hope our discussions and interviews equip you with the tools to start or grow a beautiful marriage as we address the benefits and challenges of marriage. I believe life's most precious moments are worth celebrating, so I'll help you design your marriage blueprint in alignment with your core values. Thank you for joining us, and remember to rate, subscribe, and review. Let's do this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hearts and Stripes podcast. This is your host, Bree Carroll, here with another Heart to Heart. And let me just say a huge thank you to my returning listeners. We couldn't do this without you. Thank you for the DMs, the likes, the shares, all the things. Even if you just listen and receive, we are here, or I should say I am here today because it's solo for you. I am definitely excited to share and walk on this journey with you to strengthen military marriages, because just as much as this podcast maybe is helping you, it also is real personal for me and helps me thrive in my military marriage. And for my new folks out there, if this is your first time joining us, welcome. I am so glad that you are here to share in this heart to heart. What you need to know about Hearts and Stripes podcast is that we focus on three main pillars here. One, we want you to thrive personally, because we believe that you have to show up for yourself first before you can show up for your marriage. Two, we want your military marriage to thrive, not be mediocre, but really be a fire that is burning, that continues to get better with time. And the third pillar is we are about building legacies. We believe that our relationships, our marriage relationships, are meant to bless others and to overflow really into something that could be a generational legacy. It could be a legacy of faith. It could be a legacy of impact that other people outside of your family even experience. So we are all about talking on those three pillars, sharing tips, resources, advice that help you to truly thrive. And that's how we strengthen our military marriage. So I hope all of you enjoyed our little YouTube break that we did. If you did not listen to, or I should say view, if you did not view our Married and Moving series on YouTube, listen, go on back, head over to YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel. Check out that series. On there, I'm sharing our PCS tips to help you thrive in your military marriage. So it's not your typical packing tips. It's different insight that we saw throughout our PCS journey as we did a ditty from North Dakota to Louisiana. Lots of great information in there, and I hope that you enjoy. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about that, and if you'd love to see more of our YouTube series kind of built out that way, and get a little more FaceTime with yours truly. So we are back here at the podcast, audio form today, really diving back into the heart of this podcast, which is sharing some insight, some information. And I'm really excited because today we are actually going to be focusing on the 2020 Military Marriage Survey Comprehensive Report. So for those who remember, this actually launched during Military Marriage Day. So on August the 14th of 2021, this report went out. But to take it even further back a little bit more, this survey was actually conducted in October of 2020. So what I did in this survey, I really wanted to understand more of the lived experience of our military married couples. And this was like the first crack at it. This was really a survey that was done, and I don't want to get all nerdy on the different types of data that is captured here, or from a researcher perspective. But the report that was put out just provides the data that was received from the survey. So it's not showing the next steps that we're going to talk about at the end of the episode, which will be interviews that are conducted so that we can really get more of a qualitative experience and lived experience for military marriages. But it was a great start to get some data to understand some of the things that our military married couples go through. And I'll rattle down, we had about 21 questions. So we asked the years married, branch of service, if they were officer enlisted. We asked their race. We asked how did they describe their marriage during active duty reserve or guard service. We asked how you described your marriage, resources you've utilized during active duty reserve or guard service. Name the resources. We asked them, do you feel like your marriage is or was valued by military leadership? Do you believe that military life plays a major role in the success or challenges within your marriage? And then we started talking about fulfillment and asking questions like, do you believe your personal fulfillment or achievements impact your marriage? Do you feel personally fulfilled or accomplished? Why or why not? We asked also, have you consistently worked? This is more so geared towards our military spouses, right? So did you consistently work through your marriage? Was your work status by choice or was it impacted by military life? What are the big factors that impacted your marriage positively? What was the big factor that impacted your marriage negatively? What do you and your spouse argue most about? What is one thing that is missing from marriage resources? We asked, since 2020, of course, was the pandemic, we asked, how did COVID-19 impact your marriage? And then we also have the final two questions is, I believe this one was, I feel confident in the future of my marriage. This was true or false. And then the last question, which was open-ended, finish the statement, military marriage is important because. So these are the questions that we asked in this initial survey. And we did get some feedback. We got a great amount of feedback. And I'm not going to go through all of the results from the study, but you can, from the survey, but you can absolutely head to militarymarriageday.com and you can look at the full report. But in this episode, we're going to break down and I'm going to highlight some of the findings that we had in there, because as you can see, we had so much information that was gathered in this initial survey that I feel like is really great to inform others who are walking through this military marriage lifestyle, that maybe help you feel like you're not alone in these situations. Also maybe gives you some ahas about why you feel the way you feel in your marriage relationship. I hope that it is informative from the perspective of the resources so that we can improve the resources or bring greater awareness to some of the resources that people thought were great, right? So that is the heart behind this study. I keep saying study. Let me correct that. The study portion of it is going to really be in those interviews that are conducted, which we will actually have a sign up for, and that is going to be in the show notes. It'll also be on militarymarriageday.com. You'll see an opportunity to raise your hand and say, yes, I want to do the in-depth study, the survey, and we'll have a criteria mapped out there so that you can participate in the study. But during the survey, we really just reported out the findings, and it's really exciting to see our participants was the first area that we look at, and we had a great mix of participants. Some people, it's pretty even across the board with marriages all the way from 0 to 2 years, all the way to 15 plus years. So we got a range of experience there. Our primary audience, no surprise, was Air Force. So shout out to all my Air Force people out there who supported. That was 68.6% of respondents were Air Force. Shout out to Army, who was like the second at 17.6%. So I'm really excited that we did have someone from Space Force. We had Navy, we had Marine Corps, we had Coast Guard, we had National Guard, we had Army, and we had Air Force who participated. So that was fantastic. And then one of the things that we pointed out, or that I just want to highlight in this episode, was we looked at the quality of marriage. And if I can just say, one of the things that really just kind of hurt my heart in looking at the responses that were given, were in some of these initial questions when we're asking, like, how would you describe your marriage during active duty reserve or guard service? And the result of the responses, we separated into two sides: a desirable range and an undesirable range. And of course, here at Hearts and Stripes Podcast, we want your marriage to thrive. So with the options being poor, below average, or average, those are not necessarily the desired results that we would want to have, right? We really want it to be above average or exceptional. And it was interesting that the results just showed that 65% fell in that desired range. So that's great, but that means that 34.6% fell in the undesirable range. Like, we did not see that overwhelming, like that overwhelming majority, to where, I don't know, guys. I'm just here being transparent, right? I want to see everybody thriving in their military marriage. So even though to some people, we're going to round it, 35% isn't bad, right? But I'm not going for isn't bad. I'm looking to make an impact, and that's why I advocate in this way. And I think that's why I wanted to have the conversation and really see how people, they qualify their marriage. I wanted to see what they would say about their marriage and how they were doing, as opposed to assuming that everybody's doing great or everybody's doing bad. But it helps me personally just look at that 35% and say, you know what? I'm going to work super hard for that 35% and position thought leaders and resources and partners to really help that 35%. But hold up. And I'm not going to forget that 65% who's like, oh yeah, we're rocking it. Things are going really good. We want to keep pushing them forward in that direction, right? So even in just that stat from the report, you can learn so much, and it really helps to kind of shape the heart behind Military Marriage Day. And what I hope that other people who partner in this movement, in this initiative to advocate for military marriages, they can utilize this data and say, okay, here are some areas, or here's where I want to serve. This is how I can help, be a resource, or this is how I can help position myself. And I like these next questions. I'm going to look through here and see what other resources. So name the marriage resources you've used was one of the questions that we had in here. And we broke it into different categories. People had called out support. So whether that's support with friends, family, social media groups, that was one way that they received support or resources, a resource that they called out for their military marriage. Programs and retreats, 36% said that they utilized this resource. Counseling and therapy. Whoop, whoop. Shout out to my clinicians out there. I am really glad that 46.3% said that they actually do reach out and utilize this. So they called out specifically military family life counselors. So you should have an MFLAC at your installation. This is a great resource for you to tap into. And Military One Source counseling was actually called out here as well. And I have an exciting partnership that I'll share at the end, and another opportunity for you to tune into to help strengthen your marriage that we'll share at the end of this episode. So stay tuned. They have books and content. So that's everything from podcasts, books, YouTube videos, and other written content. And then faith was also a resource that was called out that couples are utilizing. So y'all, you know that on militarymarriageday.com/resources, these are the type of areas that we are going to be highlighting. And we're taking it straight from the survey, from what people have utilized and supported them in their relationship. So look out for that support category, groups that are positive in nature, that are helping support your marriage, programs and retreats, counseling and therapy, books and content, and we'll have faith-based resources, since that is what the survey said, showed us that were really great resources to help our military couples. So we can dive in. I'm going to look for a couple of more questions here to highlight, and some quick ones that will tie into. So next season, I know you guys have heard me talk about this marriage and leadership series, y'all. I am so excited about that series. You're going to have to wait, though, till the new year, because we are lining up some amazing leaders from each branch. I'm hoping that we can get each branch to participate here, and particularly for this survey point that I'm going to share. So we asked the question, do you feel like your marriage is/was valued by military leadership? We had 28.9% say yes, 36.1% said no, and then we had 35% said maybe. I would like to shift this finding, and that is why I've invited our Armed Forces leadership to join me on the podcast right here, so they can talk about the importance of marriage from a perspective of a leader. And then also, I think it's really good as our leaders share books and resources and things to help you be successful in your career field, or as you make the next rank, or those type of areas. I think it's really important to give them a platform and share this platform so that they can share the importance of marriage from their leadership perspective. So I am really excited for that series that'll be coming in 2022. But that was one of the questions that was also asked here in the survey. So I'll pick out, let me find one other that I can maybe share a little bit on. One of the findings that I actually was not surprised about was that direct tie between personal fulfillment and fulfillment in your marriage relationship. That is something that is a whole episode all in of itself that I could talk to, because that is why we have that pillar 1, right? In the podcast, that is why we want you to invest in yourself, because when you feel like you are being purposeful, when you have found fulfillment personally, when you have desires and goals and dreams that you feel like you're working towards, and it lights you up inside, and it allows you to really show up as your best self, and thus you bring that best self to your relationship. And I think that's really something that would just benefit everyone's relationship, including mine. That's something that my husband and I have been really intentional about focusing on, about how do we find areas, hobbies, our work, how we spend our time to bring about personal fulfillment so that we can show up in our relationship as our best selves. So I will share really briefly. This will be the last one. And then I need y'all to go check out the survey for yourself so that you can see the full comprehensive report and dive into these nuggets that we have in here from the report. But one of the last questions that I'll share is, what were some of the biggest factors that impacted your marriage negatively? So I will just share a couple of the big ones, right? Separation. 29% said separation. And that is not a surprise in our community, right? So that's TDYs, that's deployments. And let me just shout out real quick, Pillar retreat that is going on. It is a fully digital retreat that you can participate with Shout out to Becky and Joe who put that on. I will link that in the show notes as well. But that is a great place to feel supported during your deployment season. And with separation being called out as one of the greatest figures to impact our military marriages negatively, I absolutely have to shout out them, as they are our partner in helping our military marriages thrive. So shout out to Pillar for the work that they do. 22.8% said work. So that is maybe the missional strains and hours and things like that go into that work component. Stability. 10% said the stability was an issue in their marriage relationship. So we are going to focus on that. That's definitely an area that I will be intentional about having an episode on, because it's true. Our military lifestyles don't offer stability all the time, but I do believe that we in our households, in our marriage, we can control what we can control. And I feel like there's a great way to find stability in our relationship, even when it feels like the outer impacts of our relationship aren't as stable. I think this would be a really great episode. And if you think so too, let me know. I'm going to run through the other ones. No communication. No surprise there, right? 14.8% said no communication was a negative impact on their marriage relationship. The others include stress, alcohol, cheating, mental health, money. Money wasn't as high as I thought it was going to be, but it is definitely up there within the top couple of responses. So these are just some areas to look out for. And like I said, you can check out the full comprehensive report for the 2020 Military Marriage Survey. And I hope that you can take the insight in there and maybe get some aha moments. Maybe it'll have you feeling like, you know what, I'm glad that this was put out, because I can see myself in some of these stats and some of these numbers. I feel the same way. Or, ooh, I love this suggestion of a resource. Maybe I will check this out and try to find that near me at my installation. So check out the full 2020 Military Marriage Survey comprehensive report. It is at militarymarriageday.com, and I will link that below. So I talked about a couple of things coming up. I definitely want to take the time to ask you to join me, as I will be the moderator for the Relationship Wellness Summit 2021. It is candid conversations others aren't having about military marriage, and that'll be on November 17th. So I will link that in the show notes as well. That is a free virtual summit that you can participate with. I am so honored to be the moderator for that conversation. And some of the questions that our panelists will discuss will touch on and come straight from some of the findings that are here in this comprehensive report that we kind of did a high level overview and talk through a couple of the findings in here. So super excited about that. Check out the Relationship Wellness Summit 2021. Again, that is on November the 17th. I will drop the dates for the Pillar Deployment Summit. Let me see if I can find it really quick. I am literally looking on Instagram right now to see what the dates are for that. So excuse me while I tap dance to get the dates. So the Pillar Deployment Retreat, again, put on by Joe and Becky, which I am super grateful to partner and support Pillar. And I am looking. So Pillar, the digital retreat for deployment countdowns, that will be on November 12th through the 14th. So there is still time for you to register for that event. Please join in. As I mentioned, separation was one of the biggest areas that military couples said in our comprehensive report, that separation was one of the biggest impacts that negatively impact their marriage. So Pillar, digital retreat, that is definitely something that you're going to want to check out. And you can find them at www.pillardeploymentretreat.com. So shout out to Pillar. So I hope that you can join us for all of these amazing opportunities to strengthen your military marriage. Again, those dates: Relationship Wellness Summit 2021. That'll be on November the 17th. You can join me for my panel, which is the candid conversations others aren't having about military marriages. And then also be sure to check out Pillar Deployment Retreat, which is November 12th through the 14th. So, big announcement here. Before I let you all go, I am encouraging you to participate in the 2021 marriage survey that we are putting out. It's our 2021 military marriage survey. We've switched up some of the questions a little bit, but we really want to get great feedback and participation for this round 2 of the survey. You heard a little bit of the questions that'll be asked, so that you are not surprised. No surprises there. And I would love to invite you to take the survey. So I'm going to drop a link below so that you can participate in the 2021 survey. And then also for those who want to have a little one-on-one time with me, do the interview so that I can really get down and get to that lived experience. Find out what your marriage experience is as you've gone through this military lifestyle. You can check out, I have a link on militarymarriageday.com where you can check out who we're looking for this study. And then you can sign up and get on the calendar for that component. I am so grateful to anyone who decides to raise their hand and just offer up their truth. We'll be looking for commonalities between all of the people that we interview so that we can really push this research forward. We have some lofty goals of hopefully getting it published at some point, but the first step is for you to sign up to offer your truth so that we can make a difference in the lives of everyone, right? There's so much value in listening to one another, hearing each other's hearts, understanding the experiences that we have in our military marriage, and then coming together to find a way to improve that and to share those lessons learned with other couples. So I am really excited about the 2021 military marriage survey. Please check out the links in the show notes. And again, you can find those links on www.militarymarriageday.com. Also, so you know what my favorite segment is here on Hearts and Stripes podcast. It's our Heart Tracks. So you can find the full playlist for season 2's songs on Spotify. Just search Heart Tracks 2. That's Heart Tracks 2 on Spotify. You can listen to the full playlist, and it is a reminder of what we discuss right here on Hearts and Stripes podcast. And today's Heart Track is Best of Me by Anthony Hamilton. That is really the goal for the survey. That is the goal for the research. That is the goal for the interviews, military marriage day, all the things, right? And so that we can give the best of ourselves in our military marriage, so we can be excited about our military marriages, and so that we can show up as our best selves. So I am excited for all that is to come with this round 2 of the survey. So our heart track is Best of Me. It's got a little groove in there. So I hope that you enjoy Anthony Hamilton. And again, you can check out the full playlist of our heart tracks on Spotify. So thank you so much for joining me on this Heart to Heart. I hope that you take advantage of the virtual opportunities, the summit, the retreat, and absolutely raise your hand, say yes, and take our 2021 military marriage survey. That's it, y'all, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to rate, subscribe, and review. This is Hearts and Stripes. We are the few, the proud, that aim high and are forged by love. Always ready, always there. We are Mill Marriage Strong.